close every time.
Yep.
Yeah, but early on they had some games at Gillette where they were putting the razor to.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
By the way, this is going down all too smoothly.
It is delicious. Hey, why do they call it a pitch in soccer, Danny? Would you like to guess?
Well, I did very well in the first one, but I'll be surprised if I can do as well on this one. I'm going to say that the field that was played upon was also a cricket field.
Okay.
And they pitched on it.
Oh.
That's my guess.
You got that like 25% right, buddy.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So the verb pitch meant to fit firmly in place, like to pitch a tent, right?
Okay.
And so when they would have a cricket match on a field, they would pitch the stumps, which are the little things on a cricket field where
you hit the ball off of.
Yeah, I don't.
Not the wickets necessarily.
I don't really know. I didn't look it up. It's something in cricket that you pound into the ground, right?
Right.
So then they just started kind of calling it a pitch for cricket, and then that came over to soccer, and that's how in the 1800s they started referring to the playing surface as a pitch.
Well, it's nice. It's nice that we have different phrases for different things in the sport of football rather than football, because I like that.
I do too.
I also loved the European Championships.
Oh my God, it was so great.
It was a shame. I did get into the Copa at the end for those games, and they were good, but it was such a mess and a black eye for soccer, for America, for Miami.
Yeah, the final was for sure.
Right. And then they had the one, Uruguay, Colombia, and Charlotte. That was bad, too.
Yeah, supposedly, we're supposed to say Uruguay, or however they're saying it now.
Well, now we're saying Czechia, which was funny because, we talked about Czechia, I think, on a previous one, that now they want it, the Czech Republic.
Yes.
So for soccer, they want it called Czechia.
Turkey's different, too, now.
Right, Turkey or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, what was funny is that we watched Wimbledon. We're watching Wimbledon with my wife, and one of the women's finalists was from the winner was from, I believe, the winner, I think. Anyway, she was from Czechia, but when they introduced her, now they said, and our champion from the Czech Republic. So
what are we supposed to do? I can't keep up, Danny. I feel like I'm getting old.
But fabulous games throughout the Euros, and I just will give a little nod to your native land. Somehow they had thousands of drunken hooligans roaming around Germany at 10 different sites for games.
Filling the streets.
And apparently also they had to deal with some public transportation issues, I guess, from what I've heard, although reporters can be a bunch of complaining
babies about that, yeah.
But apparently no incidents in stadium, we know that. No incidents outside the stadium. And how in Miami they couldn't have established a perimeter or something is beyond me, because they already had the example of the horrible things that went on in Charlotte.
Well, to have the Euro final at the Olympic Stadium that Jesse Owens won 3 gold medals in.
Right.
Like, that stadium is...
I think he won 4.
Was it 4? Sorry.
I believe.
I can fact check that. It's just that stadium is gorgeous, and it's so historical. And
I think he won 3 running and long jump.
That match was just... That final was so fun to watch.
It was.
I was rooting hard for England, but I mean, they just can't score. They have like 5 number 10s on the field. Nobody runs in behind. It's kind of frustrating to watch a team with that much talent.
I think that's the frustration for. Although, boy, Spain has a lot of talent. Their 2 young players are fabulous. So,
for sure.
But I do think that Southgate is a good manager. But I don't think he's necessarily a fine technical manager.
I think you'd have to be to manage all of those personalities and as much money as is walking through that locker room. Dude, there's like $1 billion in yearly salary walking into that locker room.
They had the player of the year in La Liga, the Premier League, and the Bundesliga on their team.
Yeah.
And somehow they were the underdog against Spain.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But Spain, they just play like a team.
And
they play like
beautiful football.
tight football.
Beautiful football the whole time.
Absolutely. Okay.
we try to truncate
Yeah.
our soccer for those for non-believers.
You know, a bunch of guys on that field maybe had an umlaut in their name,
Yes.
which I said was 2 dots over a vowel last time, and I was correct. Bing bong. Now,
there's a golfer right now who's Ludwig Oberg, and his name has gone through, and I think he's got 1 dot over the A.
Does he really?
I think that's where the way his name has gone. This guy's only
I've seen him on the leaderboard.
Right.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, last year, as of May, he was at Texas Tech.
Really?
Now he's the 4th-ranked player in the world.
Wow, I didn't realize
He was the runner-up at the Scottish Open. He probably should have won. He'll be in the mix at this week's the Open Championship. Anyway, his name during this course of the year has been Oberg. Oberg. I mean, like 11 different things, and now they finally settled on Oberg. He's Swedish. But it looked to me like there was 1 dot over his A. But another fact check.
I have to check that out. I'm going to a U.S. Open Calcutta this week. Who should I be purchasing?
I mean, the Open?
Yeah, whatever.
Well, the U.S. Open's a little different than the British Open.
I misspoke.
Which is now referred to as the Open, which annoys some American golf fans, that's for sure. Well, there's no way not to, Scotty Scheffler is going to be super short odds, so it's probably not a good buy.
So he's going to be expensive.
Well,
what do you think about Rory?
Oberg. Well, Rory's, sexy and prevalent. I'm just trying to get you some value here.
Well, everybody's down on Rory after, blowing that.
Yeah, but he finished top 3 last week at the Scottish Open. I think he's in a good headspace. So I don't think you're going to get a good price on Rory. So I would think about Oberg because there's probably a lot of, I'm not going to say dumb Americans, I just said it, who maybe, also a lot of people do this type of stuff who aren't necessarily really in deep golf fans.
Like me.
Right, and Oberg was playing college golf 14 months ago.
Well, last time we did a Calcutta for the U.S. Open, I purchased every golf pro that had qualified. So they let 20, golf pros in or whatever.
Oh, you mean qualifiers, or are you talking about the PGA? The PGA, there's club pros.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about then. Okay, so they let 20 in, I believe,
yes, 20,
right?
Yes.
And so I start buying them all for $5, $10, whatever.
Right.
And we get down towards the end of the auction, and somebody starts figuring out, because it's like we're not all in the same room. It's over an app, but we all know each other, right?
Right.
And somebody figures it out, and I end up having to pay like $40, $45 for the last 2 of them each.
That was money poorly spent.
Because I wanted all of them. But see, here's the thing. You get paid out if they hit a 69. You get paid out if they're the worst. You get paid out if
That's
they make the cut. You get paid. Right? So, I was going for all those little side bets.
Oh, well, there you go.
And it paid.
There you go. I didn't know there was all that because, I think it's a cool story. There used to be, they keep cutting it over time. It used to be 50 club pros, then it was 40, and it's down to 20, and I wouldn't be surprised if it drops down to 10 eventually because they usually don't compete that well. Now, the thing is,
the one guy made
2 years ago, Michael Block was a sensation, and he was in
I remember that.
So that was fun. But he ended up finishing 15th, which was a great accomplishment, but still it was 15th.
Yeah. Last time you said our live show at Pathlight Brewing was before COVID. Danny, we started this podcast during COVID.
We started this podcast in 2019.
No.
Yes.
No.
I can look at my archives.
Do it.
I will. I will have my own fact check. Because remember a little while...
Our first episode is March 2020.
That could be possible.
I think we hatched the idea in 2019, and we were going to go around to different breweries, and that was the idea. And then COVID hits.
I thought there was one from that because I went back. Remember recently you did a
rerun.
I did a rerun of the very first. And
you did the very first?
And I thought it was 19, but I'll recheck.
Okay, check it out. I'm pretty sure it's 2020.
Anyway, March 2020 is the absolute, because that's when the Big 12 tournament was.
Yep.
So that would have been the real
Because one of
birthplace of COVID.
because one of our early episodes is me saying I'm eating at a restaurant, and you're like, "What restaurant was open for you to eat at?" Because I was like way out on the outskirts where they were pretending like it didn't matter. Okay, I'm going to try to get through the rest of these, Danny, because we're probably running out of time.
Why don't we just? Why don't we? There's no reason not to take a little break and go to
Hang tight. I've only got two.
Okay.
Only got two. Let's just get
Joe
through
wants
them.
to get. He wants to get through them in the first segment. I don't know why. It's just a little anal as far as I'm concerned, but.
What is a lobster roll, Danny? We talked about it last time. I'm on vacation in San Francisco. And
that would be a good place to get a lobster roll.
Well, I almost ordered it, but it's covered in mayonnaise.
Right.
And that's not how I know a lobster roll.
What do you mean by covered? I mean, even
like it's like a chicken salad almost,
even a
or a tuna salad.
Oh, well, that would be that sounds like a San Francisco style lobster roll, because like the New England ones, that they have mayonnaise, but it's not like mayonnaise. They're not mayonnaise dominant. It's almost like the mayonnaise is there to make it stick together in a New England lobster roll.
Okay, yes. So the lobster rolls that I've had in New England were
no mayonnaise.
You almost don't even know there's mayonnaise. Like they have not been very.
Well, that sounds like the Rhode Island version.
Okay,
the buttery
yes,
version.
So that's what I like, is the butter version.
Well, I think they're both great, and I like mayonnaise.
I do too. So I bet I'd like it, but I was like, it just seems.
I think that just the buttery with just a hint of mayonnaise sounds better to me too.
Well, my research tells me that the Maine lobster roll is cold and the Connecticut is warm.
Yes, we talked about that, I believe.
The name of the lobster food truck that's coming to town is called Cousin's Maine Lobster. So I wanted to give them a shout out.
Standard spelling like your cousin?
Yep. And then you said that lobster is a crustacean, and you are correct.
Yay!
Ding, ding, ding. So I'll take us to break on this story. Last time I said that they
listen to the broadcast professional. I'll take us to break with this story.
Last time I fed. Well, I've been imitating you for years, Danny.
I doubt it.
Last time I said that lobster, they used to feed it to prisoners. Okay?
Yeah, I believe you did say that.
And it's totally true.
Well,
so listen to this.
All right.
Lobsters were so cheap, and there were so many of them back in the colonial period that they would feed them to prisoners. Here's a quote from the time. Lobsters are dirt cheap, so we feed them to prisoners, apprentices, slaves, and children. And then another quote. Lobsters were considered the poor man's chicken and primarily used for fertilizer or fed to prisoners and slaves.
Well,
that's how many lobsters there were.
Well, also, I think it probably is the fact that they were probably just taking the lobster, and just, here you go, bones, like the whole crustacean.
Yeah.
Maybe boil it for them. Maybe.
Yeah, they probably boiled them, but I could see no butter, and you got to eat the claws and the brains and the goos and
right, and also you have to deal with it.
Because when you eat a lobster, when you say I'm eating lobster,
I have this picture from like an old '30s movie of a poor French Renaissance guy just getting a lobster and just tearing into it, bones and all, because he's so hungry.
Well, it's a crustacean, so it doesn't have bones, Danny.
Right. Well, it's the crunchy exterior.
That would be the exoskeleton, I believe, and I will fact check that.
Woo!
But, when we eat lobster, we eat just the tail, right?
Right.
So if they had to eat all the goo and everything...
Right. Doesn't sound that great. And also, I'm going to guess that they weren't... They probably gave them the crappy lobsters, too.
It sounds like they didn't care.
That sounds like they didn't care, but we care. And after a fast start, I'm not even really done with my periwinkle, but that doesn't mean I can't go on to a delicious New England IPA. I know that's what's coming from Santa Fe Liquors. It is at 87th and Santa Fe. And, of course, Pat Allen and his wonderful crew there provide the beers every week. They are great. He's just a cool guy. We've had him on the podcast a couple times, and we'll do so again. So make sure you say that you heard about his beers and his fine store here on Thirsty Thursday, Sense and Nonsense. That'd be great. And we will have more after the entire first segment taken up by the fact check. That's amazing. More next.
More of Danny's